Bringing hope the world over. Hope Channel.
What if we said you could add 10 years to your life?
What if we said you could reverse your disease? Would you believe us?
Here's the fact. There are 200 different species of indigenous vegetables here in the Philippines. But sad to say, there are still a lot of people that are starving and are getting sick.
But here's a secret. You don't have to be like them. We offer you no fountains of youth, no magical pills, no radical surgery, just plain, simple yet practical advice guaranteed to add not just years to your life, but life to your years. I'm Weanne.
And I'm Mark. And once again, we would like to welcome everybody on another episode of Longevity Secrets.
So today, for our episode, we shall be talking about indigenous vegetables. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. The word indigenous is such a long word. It's so intimidating. So, Mark, could you give us and our viewers a quick definition?
When we say indigenous, it's something that can be found within a certain place, within a local group of people, and it is native to that place.
Okay, so for today's episode, we shall be talking about indigenous vegetables, right?
Yes,
vegetables?
meaning vegetables that can be found within the certain place. Now, we are talking about these types of vegetables because they are nutrient dense. When we say nutrient dense, they are packed with so many nutrients that you could get a lot just by eating even a half cup of them.
What else? What are the other advantages of indigenous vegetables? I mean, I'm sure our lecturer will talk about them later, but could you give us a quick overview?
Yes, another one is that it can be found whole year round. I mean, you seldomly find vegetables that are not available all throughout the year, unlike some of the vegetables that are imported, which comes in seasonally, right?
That is true. And another thing is they're not just available all year round, they're also very cheap.
Yes.
And not just cheap, most of them can actually be free. They're just in our backyards or in our gardens, right?
Yeah, you could just ask from your neighbor sometimes.
They're also fresh and delicious. So today we shall be talking about indigenous vegetables, some things that are very common to us. We see them every day, but we don't really want to eat them. So to encourage us to eat more of these healthy fruits and vegetables is Dr. Blecenda Varona, Nutrition and Lifestyle Consultant of the Need Health Ministries.
Thank you very much, Mark and Weanne. And today, we are so excited to present to you the indigenous vegetable. The first moment that I was with a group that is really for the indigenous vegetable is when they invited me to join the research on the breastfeeding group. At the same time, we will be feeding the kids with indigenous vegetable. It was actually a short study, and we have compared around 6 babies from the remote area, when I say from the poor area, poor community, and another 6 babies from the financially well-off families, giving the breast milk, exclusive breastfeeding, and then later on, after 6 months, we gave indigenous vegetables to these babies. Comparing these babies to the babies that are given formulated milk. You know, you will really be surprised from the result of this study. You know, the babies that were given pure breast milk plus the indigenous vegetable after, after 6 months or after, for their first baby's food are smarter and really healthy. Comparing to the babies who were given formulated milk and, they're not just, they can just give any kind of food, supplementing the formula milk. So I became so interested with the indigenous vegetable. You know, this study was so was so inspiring to the moms and to the Filipinos particularly because we have the best indigenous vegetables here in the Philippines. And the result of the study is actually presented as case story in Malaysia, and that becomes an inspiration to the Asia Pacific, health educators, particularly those people who are really into breastfeeding. So I would say, and I want really to take the opportunity of taking this program, as for my advantage to promote breastfeeding. We love to say that the best food is really the secret for longevity, and that is breastfeeding. I would start it right. The best diet when it comes to good nutrition is really breastfeeding. So I'm appealing to the moms, to the ladies and to the fathers and to the future moms and fathers, don't trust any other food for your infants. It's really breastfeeding that can actually give longevity and can protect you from diseases, particularly chronic diseases in later years of life. So again, I'd like to emphasize that, hey, we have to study more on this breastfeeding strategy so that we can actually be convinced that, hey, we need to really, the breastfeeding should really be part of our management. Now, when it comes to breastfeeding, I'm so fortunate because my mom, really gave her breast milk. And I was really pure breastfeeding. And she was also fortunate because her mom also breastfed her. And I'm so fortunate because I was able to breastfeed my kids. And they're really breastfed children. And after that, we gave them diet that is really a plant-based diet. And I'm so happy to tell you, Nay, we can shout it to the world that we're so thankful because our moms really breastfed us. Now, in our study about this breastfeeding and indigenous vegetable, we started giving indigenous formulated diet to the babies. We started with instead of giving potato, we give sweet potato. Instead of just giving, imported vegetables like broccoli or, some other vegetables that are imported, we started preparing indigenous vegetables to our kids, to these experimented kids. You know what? We started giving, chopping the sweet potato leaves and malunggay, and we chose to give, tundan as our native banana than just giving the apple and the grapes. And you know what? It was so amazing that the kids would really love this kind of food. And we planned it so nicely that the first diet supposedly contained no salt, no sugar until 1 year old. And you would really be surprised. Our kids kept on eating and eating all this even without, highly seasoned food. So I personally believe that, the kids can start it right. Okay, babies, according to the research, had started it right. And, we too can start it right. Let's try to see. The promotion must start from breastfeeding and later on go to the indigenous vegetable. Now let's try to see some of the vegetables that are available around. Some of you would wonder, what is really the indigenous vegetables? You just have to open up your eyes because they're just around. Like this vegetable, we call this malunggay. Now in English, we call it horseradish leaves. In scientific name, it has Moringa oleifera, and it is just available all around. I've seen this in many of the Asia Pacific countries, and we keep on teaching malunggay, and we keep on, inventing recipes on this kind of vegetable. We have already created malunggay pancake, malunggay chapati, malunggay burger, malunggay soup, and almost all recipes can be incorporated with this vegetable. Now, why do we really need to promote this vegetable? It's so amazing because just 1 cup of malunggay, this is based on the food composition table produced by the Food and Nutrition Research Institute of the Philippines. I have measured my own malunggay using my own cup and then comparing it to other items or to other common foods. Like, let's try to see 1 cup of malunggay when it comes to vitamin A. And we know that vitamin A is antioxidant. 1 cup of malunggay is equivalent to 61 slices of pork. Imagine that. You need to eat 61 slices of pork just to get the vitamin A of 1 cup of malunggay. When it comes to egg, you need to eat 11 pieces of eggs before you can equal the vitamin A of 1 cup of malunggay. And you'll be needing, 5 glasses of milk before you can equal the vitamin A of 1 cup of malunggay. There's no exaggeration here because you can actually see that the malunggay is really high in vitamin A. You know what? Malunggay, when I say 1 cup, it's just boiled. By the way, all these are boiled. So meaning, it's just plainly boiled. So when I say, 5 glasses of milk, you try to measure, you try to compute for the expense for that. And that is, I personally believe it's more expensive than the malunggay. And most of the time, malunggay is free, just available all around. All you have to do is ask from your neighbors. So here is an idea that will actually help us to be healthy. It's not really that, it's not really that hard. It's so easy. Now here is talbos ng kamote. 1 cup of talbos ng kamote or sweet potato leaves is equivalent to 35 slices of pork when it comes to vitamin A. And when it comes to egg, you need to eat 6 pieces of eggs before you can equal the vitamin A of 1 cup of sweet potato leaves. Pechay, we can have 7 pieces of eggs to equal the vitamin A. This is just vitamin A, okay? We don't have enough time to really compare all the nutrients of this food. So let's just see the vitamin A maybe or the vitamin C and the calcium, and let's see the nutritional dense, ability of this indigenous vegetable. One of the articles would say that 1 cup of malunggay is equivalent to 4 cups of milk when it comes really to bone health, when it comes to really preventing osteoporosis. So malunggay is just available and it's so easy to cook that. By the way, there's a technique when you cook malunggay. As much as possible, do not overcook. Because when you overcook, it becomes a little bit bitter. And you can't appreciate anymore the color. So it's just seconds. If you would be counting the seconds, don't wait until 1 minute. So it's just around 30 seconds and then put off the fire. If you will be adding that to your pancake as much as possible, don't don't mix the pancake immediately, because that can mix the flavor of malunggay, and it's not good when you soak that for a long time. So you have to mix immediately and then cook immediately. Okay, so here, when we would like really to compare the nutritional value, comparing really the secrets of prevention of diseases like heart health. Okay, we want to prevent heart disease. And we want really to see foods that are really we have the protection. You keep on looking on foods that are really high in fiber and foods that are really low in cholesterol. If you want this, just get it from your indigenous vegetables. You have your malunggay and sweet potato leaves and kangkong, and you have the fiber content. You don't have cholesterol. It's 0 cholesterol. Comparing it to to egg, milk, and pork, these items, this so popular food, contain no fiber. But you know what? Cholesterol is really huge, especially when you eat the internal organs. So don't blame other things, my friends. Just look on your diet and you will really find that the diet has a big role when it comes to sickness, when it comes to diseases. And it's right in there, in your meat, in the fat. in the internal organs that can actually cause problems. Okay, let's try to compare malunggay again and other vegetables to other food items. Let's try the beta-carotene equivalent. Okay, using the food composition of the Food and Nutrition Research Institute of the Philippines, you can see here, it has by the 13,000. And calcium here is 200 milligrams. Okay, so let's try to imagine 13,500 and 200. You remember that, okay? 13,500 and 200. Now, let's try to compare this to the most common food, you know, people love to eat, okay, which is meat, you know, animal products, animal foods. I can't recommend this because obviously animal fats are not really good. And you know, the animals, meat contain excessive amount of fat and it's not the good type of fat and it carries really cholesterol that we don't like. So I cannot recommend that. So what we will be doing is just to check the nutritional value comparing beta-carotene and calcium and comparing it to malunggay and other indigenous vegetable. Let's see. This one has only 30 and 14. So you try to compare previously, we had 13,500 from malunggay, you know, and 200 for calcium. But this time, if you have pork, you have only 30 and 14. Now some people would say, oh, I'm becoming health conscious and I want shrimp. And then here, look at shrimp. You know, it's only 10 and 76. Comparing again to 13,500 and 200. So, if you're smart enough, you would say, I would rather go malunggay. Okay. Here is another vegetable. We call this one bitter gourd or bitter melon. The bitter gourd, we call it ampalaya in Tagalog. You know, you can have both the fruit and the leaves. If you will be getting the fruit, you have here 175 for your beta-carotene, and you have 64 for the calcium. That is the fruit. And usually you have, you know, you have simple saute for that, or sometimes we do that. No, we cook that as salad. I really love the salad. I really love bitter vegetables. So I can even eat bitter gourd raw. Okay. Now, but if you will be eating the leaves, look at the leaves. It is now by the 1,000, 3,285, and calcium is 339. So again, this would give us an idea that, you know, when you eat your vegetables, you can have nutritional dense from the leaves than the fruit. But of course, I can't say that you go 100% leaves. You know, sometimes you eat the fruit, sometimes you eat the leaf, or sometimes you can mix together. So here would really, this is actually the solution to our problems, okay? And we have lots and lots of recipes for ampalaya. Okay, here's another vegetable. Some people would say that this is not really healthy. You know, it has low nutritional value. You know, upo, okay, or bottle gourd, or white squash, they say, when it comes to fruit, oh, I would say that it is more healthier than baboy and shrimp, right? Because baboy and shrimp is just 10 and 30, you know, and 14 and 76. But here comes the upo, and people keep on accusing the upo is not healthy. It's only water. But no, it's not that. You know, comparing it to baboy and hipon is still healthy, and it has extra fiber, you know, that's an extra advantage for that. It has no waste product, it's no cholesterol, and I personally believe that's better than, you know, better than the food that is always promoted. But you know what? If you will be choosing the leaves, imagine the amount of beta-carotene. It's now close to 6,000. So the idea would really, you know, it's the leaves that can actually heal our cholesterol, you know, correct your cholesterol and triglyceride and your blood sugar. It would actually help control your blood pressure. And that is actually nutrition. What I mean by nutritional dense, if you eat little, you have already lots and lots of nutrients. Okay? So here is another vegetable that can actually give solution. But the problem this time is how to cook them. You know, the cook them that family would really appreciate, you know, eating and really consuming all this vegetable. So here's another vegetable that is so popular here in the Philippines, and not only here. I've seen this in many other, you know, Asia-Pacific countries. And we keep on, you know, gathering all these indigenous vegetables. And we have discovered that, you know, even in Indonesia, in Malaysia, they have also this kind of vegetables. They have different recipes. And how I wish I can really compile all these recipes from the Asia-Pacific so that later on we can share this to the world. Okay? The alugbate, in scientific name, it is Bacilla alba. And it is a vegetable that is really, really nice. Now, if you know how to cook this, you would really appreciate this kind of vegetable. You know, in the South, they really love to eat lauoy. Now, I'm married to a Visayan. Varona are Visayans, and you know, the lauoy really is their favorite. We have lauoy every other day. In a week, we have like 3 lauoy dish. And you know, the lauoy is so simple. It's just all these vegetables. And initially, if you look at lauoy, it's not really that pleasing to the eyes. But later on, when you know the nutritional value, you would really appreciate eating lauoy. It's just the boiled vegetable, no fat, and it has, you know, it has sometimes many combinations of vegetables, but they have just one cookery. It's just boiled. You know, alugbate, if you will be looking at alugbate, you know, this alugbate has 3,900 when it comes to beta-carotene, and calcium is 135. And we have lots and lots of cookeries for alugbate. You can stir it, you know, simple stir fry. You can also mix this with other food. And you can even mix this with your legumes like mongo and lentils and dal. You know, a wide variety for this cookery. So here is another recipe. This is another vegetable that is so common here and always available. We call it eggplant, talong. Okay, one time my uncle visited us in Manila, and they said that he had treated my auntie, no, in the most expensive restaurants in Georgia. And they say it's so expensive that one dish is really $200. And they said that, you know, it's actually an Egyptian restaurant, and they can't understand, they don't have translation for the recipe, for the dishes, and they have noticed that there is one dish that has translation in English, and the translation goes like this: food fit for the king. And then the Dr. Varona said, oh, maybe this is really food fit for our date, and this really fit for the king. So they were so excited because they have already identified their dish. You know what? When they were served with this so expensive dish, and they open up, you know, the platter with cover, to their amaze, it was actually tortang talong. Okay? It is similar to tempura eggplant, and they are so surprised. It is just, you know, common food in the Philippines, and it's so expensive. So, you know, friends, when you cook your tortang talong tonight for your husband, you charge them $200, okay? So it's a very nice fundraising. So we can create many good recipes, especially. We teach them how to make salad, no, for this talong and all this kind of good dishes. This is another vegetable. We call it breadfruit, and the breadfruit is you can you know, just turn this into salad, or sometimes you can put some coconut milk. And sweet potato leaves, so common. The nutritional value is 3,200 plus, and calcium is 145. And this is very common all around Asia Pacific. Squash is so common. You know, the squash has 740 when it comes to beta-carotene, and calcium is 72. But when it comes to When it comes to flowers, we can also turn that in nice dishes, the flower of the squash. Now, fern, pako. Fern is so nice when it comes to turning this into salad. And the best way actually is you mix this together, and then you can put tomato and little of the calamansi or lemon and little sugar, and you have the best salad. It has 3010 when it comes to beta-carotene, and it has calcium by 36%. It has good amount of fiber and other nutrients. Kamatis here is so popular. It's all year round, and it's so cheap during summertime. And I really love tomatoes, and it has 385 when it comes to beta-carotene and 31 when it comes to calcium. If you have tomato, you can actually create hundreds of recipes about tomatoes. And I really love to make my own Italian fresh, yung sauce. And here is another vegetable, we call it saluyot. That is jute leaves. That saluyot has its unique texture. But I really love saluyot. It is available, and it is so cheap. And it has good amount of beta-carotene by close to 6,000, and calcium is 390. So again, just gathering all these kinds of indigenous vegetables, I'm sure we have so many solutions to the sick people here in the Philippines. We can actually reverse diseases. We can actually help control, reduce your medications. This is another native vegetable that is not so common here in Manila. We call it talinum, and this is actually the original Philippine spinach. The Philippine spinach is, we can add this in our sinigang, and it is really nice. Look at the nutritional value, and it has 2,450. When it comes to calcium, it has 90. And the talinum is so nice when it comes to soup. Okay, this is wing bean, and I'm sure this is really popular to many countries, not only in Asia Pacific, but all throughout the globe. We can have this sigarilyas in Tagalog. But this is another vegetable. We call it hyacinth bean, and this is bataw, and we can create good recipes for this kind of vegetable. Okay, and lastly, I'd like to show you the vegetable that I really love this time. I'd like you to really search around for this vegetable. We call it lagikway. Lagikway is like, this is really, it has good amount of beta-carotene by 8,300 plus, and calcium is actually 368. If you can locate this kind of vegetable, I am appealing to the viewers right now that we have to plant this, because you could hardly see this around. And come, join us in the promotion of this plant. All you have to do is just plant this naturally, like sweet potatoes, or like kangkong, or like, other native vegetables like jute. And you can have this easily. You can easily grow this vegetable. So my friends, our appeal today is, come, let us all join in our good ministry, and we call it Indigenous Vegetable Ministries.
Thank you, Dr. Varona, for giving us a lot of reasons that we should eat the vegetables that we just come across every day. Truly, knowledge is power. Without power, we won't be able to make the right choices to get rid of the greatest disease of all, which is ignorance.
But always remember that knowledge is not enough. We must remember to apply the secrets of proper nutrition, good exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God in our everyday lives. But don't just stop there.
Let us share these secrets to other people so that they may know that we have something of value here in this show. I am Mark.
And I am Weanne, inviting you to join us on the next episode of
Longevity Secrets.
Bringing hope the world over. Hope Channel.